I'm Cynthia James, and this network is about changing lives one woman at a time.
Hello and welcome to Women Awakening. I'm your host, Cynthia James, and I'm excited that I get to introduce you to phenomenal women. And when I say phenomenal, yes, they're ordinary women like you and me, but they're doing extraordinary things because they've said yes to life, yes to their passion, yes to their goals, yes to bringing their dreams forward. And not only that, but empowering others to do the same thing. So I'm grateful that you get to be here. We do these every week with a different woman and they all inspire me. I always walk away from every recording going, oh, wow, that was incredible. I can't wait to share that. So we are on all the platforms, Spotify, iTunes, iHeart, Spreaker, Amazon, video on YouTube. Subscribe, tell your friends, share the videos. I guarantee you that we've been interviewing hundreds of women around the world, for 3 years. So I guarantee you there's somebody there that can help you get to where you want to get to. You can go to cynthiajames.net, by the way. That's my website, and see what gifts and things I have for you. And I'd love to have you join my community if that's your desire. Well, today I have a new guest that I'm really excited to talk to. Her name is Deborah Globe. They call her the Profitess. I love that. And she's a woman who has worn many hats and hairstyles. Me too. And she's and they've informed her in becoming a leader. So today she is an IT and business change consultant, senior program and project manager, executive and leadership coach, and founder and CEO of the Queen Bee Globe, which is a leadership development consulting, coaching, and creative works community on a mission to empower the new intergeneration of women using technology, psychology, and wisdomology to lead the future of work as creators and change agents and thought leaders. Deborah, thank you so much for being here.
It's a pleasure to be here, Cynthia. Thank you for having me.
And you are, I was reading your bio and I was like, ooh, look at that. Oh, look at that. So I want to start at the beginning though. Where were you born? How did you grow up?
Oh, okay. So I love this question. I was actually born in South Side of Chicago, Chi-Town. So my mother already had 3 boys, and then I came along, and she was actually being raised by her sister, her older sister, because her mother passed away and she was really young. And her older sister was a very religious woman. And so she met my father there in the church. He was a young minister that was traveling around and speaking at various churches. And so she met my father. And so grew up there in the Chicago area until there was an accident and my oldest brother passed away. It was a race-related accident.
Oh.
And well, I say accident, it wasn't really an accident, it was a tragedy. So
Yes.
he passed
Yeah.
away. And so that actually led to them leaving that Chicago area, moving to San Antonio, Texas. My dad was in the military, so we moved to San Antonio, Texas. And my mom would have another son. So I'm the only girl, 3 brothers, very protective brothers. And so we would begin to grow up there. My dad became very fanatical, religious, in the evangelical, faith movement. And so we had one phase going on at church and then another phase going on at home. He was quite violent and abusive, and I experienced that abuse. So at one point, my mother got to a point where she was strong and she decided to leave the marriage relationship and leave the church as well. And she became my first savior, And she then moved us, my 3 brothers and myself, to Atlanta, Georgia, where she is originally from, and that's where I live now. So that's a little bit about my upbringing.
Wow. Okay. Well, So what's interesting to me about this, and I want to talk about the segue to what you do, is that, you know, growing up in that kind of environment, there's a couple of choices. You forge a new highway to
Yes.
create something new, or you become engulfed and down the rabbit hole of where you've been. So clearly you chose the former.
Yeah.
And so talk to me. I mean, did this happen in school, this interest in business, or how did it evolve?
So I would say my mother was really pivotal in that, in the sense that as she sought to take care of us, single mother, not getting any support from my dad, I then became more taking care of myself. Me and my brothers taking care of ourselves. And so I really became a caretaker for her. She had a mental breakdown, ended up in and out of the mental institutions. And so I decided I wanted to be a psychologist, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to fix this. I'm going to solve this problem. I'm going to help her to heal. I'm going to heal. I'm going to become a psychologist. So I went off to school, went down that track until I realized it wasn't going to pay that much money. So I said, okay, you got to switch gears. So I switched gears and went into the field of technology. And this was in the 80s. So this is early on, before technology is what it is. It was back in the days with the mainframe, big old computer systems and everything. And so I actually just did really well. So I got out of college. Became a system engineer, climbed the corporate ladder, and then began to, get acclimated in the business world and everything, until I decided to get married, have children. Actually married once, twice. The first time was just for a couple of years, and then the second time I actually stayed married for 21 years and had my three children. So when I had my three children, I wanted to be home with my kids. Corporate was quite challenging, quite demanding, especially in the IT field. You're on call all the time and all those different things. So I decided to stay home with the kids. And my then husband and business partner went into business together. So we had a financial services business, we had a real estate business, we had a multitude of different businesses, like serial entrepreneurs going on. And it was a good learning ground. So that is where I would say I got my foundation in the business world.
Well, there were a flood of questions that came in. So 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 the first thing is I want to say, how did you navigate um 24 hours with your partner,
Mm.
raising three children, and running serial businesses?
Quite challenging. Um, and so it wasn't so much as 24 hours with my partner, because he did most of the work in the office and I did most of the work out of the home,
Mhm.
and taking care of the children, and taking on parts of the businesses from him that he didn't want to run, like the real estate investing and things of that nature. So I did most of that work out of the home and he was in the office. It was very challenging, a lot of butting of heads still, because I married this great Nigerian man, very strong-headed, very strong-willed, but it would become very toxic. I would realize later that it was actually very misogynistic. And it was just really based on like an old school model of what a man is supposed to do and what a woman is supposed to do and what a wife is supposed to do, and for a while I was okay with it because I had been raised in the church, right? I had been programmed by that Christian evangelical upbringing. But after some time of butting of heads, and then really seeing that my dreams were not being realized, it became very problematic.
Okay, so now let's talk about generational here. So
Mhm.
now you're at a similar point as your mom.
Yeah.
I need to leave this relationship. Your children were pretty grown then?
No, actually, my son had gone off to college by the time I made the decision to leave. And my two daughters, my oldest daughter, Sade, was in high school about to graduate. My youngest daughter, Lola, was in middle school. And so
Wow.
it was quite challenging. And coming from that standpoint, my income was very connected and attached to his. So, trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I going to get out of this toxic situation became more than a notion.
Well, yeah. I mean, because now you're having to figure out how to negotiate your life
Yes,
with um, a husband and a business partner.
that's right. That's right. That's right.
So I want to know, once you made that decision, did you go back to work for someone else, or did you just decide, I'm going to just push forward and create something new?
Yeah, that's a good question. I first just floated and fumbled around, trying to figure it out. I had a belief system that I would not be able to go back into the IT world because, as we know, IT changes like the speed of light, right? So I had been out of the field for 15 years. And so I just thought, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. So I kept trying different businesses and working in my coaching arena and doing different little jobs. And I moved 8 times over that 8-year period of time. I had 8 different jobs. My youngest daughter went to 8 different schools until I finally landed in a position at, of all places, Delta Airlines. And that is where I found my footing. And I was in the human resources department, and in their in-flight learning services is where they do their flight attendant training for their 25,000 flight attendants. So I landed there on the hiring team, and I began to see a lot of problems with the technology, and I began to solve them. And then I
Ah,
realized, oh, I still have it in me. I can still do this work. And so I took off on the path again in the IT world.
well, that's incredible. So where does Queen Bee Globe come in?
So along the way, I had my own mental breakdown, like my mom, right? So I, had, initially thought I was gonna go into psychology to save my mom, and then I got the technology degree and I began taking care of my mom. But now here I was in a state of mind. I was really broke. I was broke. I was broken. I was brokenhearted. And my daughter was being impacted by it. My daughters, they were being impacted because you find out that really your children can really only be as strong as you can be,
That's
and it took me some time to realize that. It took me landing in the emergency room with a fever of 104, and the doctor saying that, well, could you be HIV positive? And I'm like, what the heck are you talking about? And that was still when I was still married. And at that point was a turning point. I started taking control of my health. No, I'm not HIV positive. So they went back, they ran tests, and they realized that I had a allergic reaction to an antibiotic.
wow.
So and I had been taking it, and they were like, well, how long have you been taking the antibiotic? And I was like, I don't know, on and off for maybe 10 years. And it was enough to just totally deplete my immune system, right? So my health was shattered. My wealth and my financial situation, I left the marriage with nothing after living a multi-million-dollar lifestyle. I'd left with really nothing. And so I had to rebuild, heal my heart, and rebuild my soul. My soul was broken. So I had to
Yes.
rebuild and restore all of that. So I did that with journaling, coaching, and tapping into my own feminine wisdom and intuition, and breaking from traditional church and Christianity, and really just cultivating that relationship with the spirit, cultivating that relationship with my own inner guidance and wisdom. And in doing that, I got the revelations, so many revelations about, this new being, this new woman that is seeking to emerge in the world. And I call that woman, I call that space that we're creating in the world, the Queen Bee Globe. The Queen Bee comes from my name. My name, Deborah, actually means honeybee. It's a Hebrew name. And then, of course, my last name is Globe. So just putting the two together, it's just the movement to create this heaven on earth for us women to realize, that it's our time. It's our time to realize
Yes,
our dreams.
100%. Okay, ladies, let me just say this. I hope you were listening to what she just said, because in that moment of feeling broken and brokenhearted, the traditional religion that she came up in wasn't feeding the soul. So she had to find her own direct connect to the divine.
You got it.
So I'm just saying that to you. If you have a religion that works for you, great. But if you're feeling like you're floating out here, there are tools that you can use to find your way, because the universe, God, spirit, whatever you choose to call it, is supporting you and is available for you.
Ooh. Yes.
So I want to talk about, because you work with women, young women and girls.
Yes.
And so tell me what you're doing with the women.
So, large part, I really seek to work with women that are leaders in the community, particularly those that are entrepreneurs or they're entrepreneurial minded, and I look to coach them and support them in reconnecting to that own executive wisdom, is what I call it, feminine wisdom on the inside of them. From that space, we can be creators again. We can change our lives. We can make new decisions. So it's a coaching conversation. It's done through inspirational speaking engagements. And what I found is that it's multi-generational. So I find myself often working with the mother as well as the daughter or daughter. And that is quite inspiring and it's so needed, Cynthia. We are in a place where, it's what I've found is that we've been wounded by, as women, we've been wounded by the WASP programming. And this is an acronym I have. It's women abused and stressed by patriarchy. And
Yes.
that's a
Okay, let me just throw something else in there. Please don't forget women of color,
yes.
the generational stuff that we've carried with us.
That all of it, all
You
of it.
know, yeah. So it's so wonderful that you created a place and a system, because the thing is like, if anybody in the lineage heals, it goes backwards and forwards.
Yes, you got it. You got it. And I was just having a conversation with a mother and her daughter, older 20s. And we had that discussion about the lineage. The mother did what she did, her mother did what she did, which was the person's grandmother that I was talking to at the time. And she took a lot of abuse. She took a lot of, she was a product of that time. I mean, and each of us, you realize you're a product of your times, of your environment, of your education system. And that's what I go through when I coach people with the Queen Bee Globe 360, a new blueprint for a new reality, And so
Yes.
I will teach them and help them to understand this is how this happened. You didn't do anything wrong. You just grew up during certain times and you accepted the beliefs, the norms, the mindset that was given to you at that time, whether it's a woman is supposed to be at home in the kitchen and, a woman listens to a man or a man is the head of the household, whatever the case may have been during your time, you lived that but did you break away from it? Did you totally break away the shackles? Have you given yourself permission to be free again? To be really, really
Mm-hmm.
free,
Mm-hmm.
to live the life of your own dreams. Because that was one of the things I discovered. I was living my now ex-husband's dream. It was, oh, the fancy cars, a 10,000 square foot mansion, all the kids in private school, and it looked grand and glamorous from the outside, but it was a very broken, dark place on the inside the home and inside. It began to take a toll on me. So, yeah, I hope
I
that.
I totally relate to that. I don't know where you are in the book, but I was married into a very successful
Ah,
lifestyle. And ladies, this is what I want you to know. Money will not make you happy.
say it
You know,
again for the
that's
people
right.
in the
Money
back.
will not make you happy, and someone else's dream will not make you happy. So I'm so grateful that you're doing this work because you've lived it,
Yes.
then you get to impart that information from a place of knowing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the greatest privilege has been to bring my daughters along with me on the ride, as well as my son. We're very close. My daughters in particular, particularly the younger one, we do business together now. She works alongside me in my business. She's helping me even now to create my website and things of that nature. And so it's been a privilege to just really heal. And that was really pivotal when I decided to make the decision to leave that multi-million-dollar lifestyle. It was my youngest daughter that said to me, "Mommy, Daddy not good for you." She was like, she's about 5 or 6 or 7, at that time. And I was like,
Mhm.
whoa. And so, from the mouth of babes, right? Comes
That's right.
this wisdom.
We think they don't see, and they see everything.
Yes.
Really,
And
really.
we think we're staying in it, for the children oftentimes, right? And that's
Mhm.
what I had told myself for the longest. And I would be awakened, and my youngest daughter was like, "No, mommy, you need to leave this." And it was truly one of the revelations that was pivotal in me, making that change and making that decision to leave the toxic situation and rebuild my life. And life is good now.
Yeah, I can see
I
the light in your face.
really
There's joy. How do people find you?
People can find me on social media at Deborah Globe, and they can find me at my website at thequeenbeeglobe.com.
Beautiful. Well, I ask the same last question of every guest. This show is called Women Awakening. What do you
Mm.
think is the most important thing about women awakening in this moment?
I believe that as women awaken, we can create a whole new world. A new world that's really based in more feminine qualities. So we can become true matriarchs and create a world where we're taking care of all of our children. We are operating from a place of compassion and not competition. We're coming together looking for camaraderie. We can heal, and we can really birth that. As women, we are designed to give birth. And we can do that best by tapping into our feminine wisdom, our divine feminine energy on the inside of us. As we do that, we will become creators, literally and figuratively, creating books. I've got my book that I wrote, and I'm working on my next
Okay,
one.
what's the name of the book?
It's called Psalms from a Woman's Heart,
Beautiful.
and I'm working on my next book. So I believe we'll find ourselves giving birth to just a whole new level of creativity. And we'll find ourselves operating in a world that's no longer based in the information age. It shifts to the wisdom age. And I think it's
Yes.
going to take women to do that because we're the authors of wisdom. It comes from within us more than it does than the other species. No shade to men, love
Mhm.
them. But women, it's our time in history to make a change. And it's we're recording this on International Women's Day, is saying something. It's time for us to be included in the conversation from the boardroom to the family room and be our own matriarchs.
Beautifully said. Couldn't have said it better myself. Deborah, I'm so grateful you're here. I'm so grateful you're doing this work in the world. And I'm so grateful I found you.
Likewise, it's an honor, Cynthia. Like I said, I found you when you visited the Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta,
Mhm.
and I got you to sign my book and everything. So to be on your show, it has truly been an honor for me today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, ladies, I end the show the same way. Different words, same message. This is your moment. This is the time where the universe is inviting you to awaken, to open, to expand your consciousness so that you can step into a field where you bring the best of you to this planet. Because just like Deborah said, this is the time where women's wisdom and loving and nurturing is necessary to shift the interesting experience that we're having on the planet. So just know that I love you. I'm so grateful that you're here. Stand up, step out, bring your voice. We're waiting for you. I love you, and I'll see you soon.